Wah, wah, wah. Hello guys, how you doing? So, my name is George, aka The Big G, and welcome to my channel. Now in this video, I want to talk about the ego, and specifically I want to talk about what exactly the ego is, how it impacts you day to day, how it impacts me day to day, my personal relationship with the ego, how meditation can help you to control your ego and control your life, and finally my personal experience with my ego post discovering the wonders of meditation. I want to say that I am fully aware that I look like a frat boy right now. That's fine, I'm rolling with it, hiding the hair for hair transplant updates, and yeah, rocking the frat boy look. What can I say?
Frat boys pale in comparison to you. Your intellect is far superior.
You'd never make it into a frat party. You don't have the cojones.
Sorry about him. Let's get on with the video. So, what is the ego? Google will tell you that the ego is the part of your brain, the part of your mind that mediates between the conscious and the unconscious. That's what Google will tell you. And while this holds true, while I see this as being fact, and who am I to dispute the definitions on Google anyway? For me, it doesn't fully encapsulate the ubiquitous nature of the ego, how powerful it is compared to all the other facets of our multifaceted brain, how often the ego takes over and dominates all other facets of our brain, how often it bends the rest of our brain over, slaps it on the ass, and just says, I am the ego, you follow my lead. Anyway, sorry, no idea what I'm talking about. To put that a little bit clearer, within the minds of most people in the Western world, the ego is the dominator, takes center stage and essentially runs your life. And, you know, potentially now you're watching this video and you're thinking, shut up, George, you don't know anything. Very few people walk about the town like they own the place. Very few people talk over others as though they are more important, as though what they have to say is all that matters. Very few people would also, I guess, demean and look down at other people because they saw themselves as better. Yeah, while I agree, these people are rare, I think what's been misunderstood is the term ego. The phrase to have a big ego and the phrase to have a big head has been conflated to mean the same thing. Arrogance and the ego are not synonymous. There is another equally as dark side to the ego that is spoken about a lot. However, it's not necessarily always referred to as the ego. And this is going to be the side of your brain that tells you you aren't good enough. This is going to be the side of your brain that compares you to others, whether positively or negatively. I'm not going to tell you why all of these things aren't true. I don't want this to become a self-help channel, although undoubtedly it probably will become a self-help channel as I grow into an absolute beast and I need to impart my wisdom. I should probably just shut up now, but unfortunately, I don't have a filter. I can't control myself. Okay, but what I do want to do is help you to understand how meditation is going to help you control your ego. It's going to help you take back control of your life because, yeah, once you control your ego, everything else follows and you'll have a great life. And I want that for you guys. And straight after saying I don't want to be a self-help channel, I go into some self-help rant. Shut up, George. You're an idiot. Essentially, the ego is going to be the part of your brain that dictates your personality, your identity. So obviously identity for most human beings is going to be how they see themselves, how they interact with others, how others interact with them, the response they get from other people. And all of this is completely ego based. It's not your true identity. It's bullshit. And you need to take back control before it dominates your whole life. And you never truly become the best possible and most authentic version of yourself. So yeah, as I said, this supposed identity that the ego has built up for you is complete. And here's why. So how does the ego affect your life each and every day? The biggest question that we as humans have to answer on an individual level is the question of who we are. You know, what is our identity, how we want to be seen in the world, how we want to interact with people, how we perceive ourselves. What we see in the mirror is obviously just vanity. It's deeper than that. It's about your essence, your being, your soul. For me, at least, anyway, this is a question that has plagued my existence for as long as I can remember, essentially since I became consciously aware, by which I mean when I started to question things. I started to care what other people thought of me. So this is, growing into your adolescence and becoming an adult. Obviously, I wasn't an adult. I'm not even sure I'd still classify myself as an adult. But this is when the ego took over. This is when the ego started to dictate my life. Obviously, before that, when you're a kid, it doesn't. You're happy, you're playful. Everything you do revolves around having fun and being happy. And then, of course, things turn to when you're about 14, 15, 16. As a guy, when you get to this age, and I'm sure as a woman as well, all you want to do is attract women. You want to pull on your little platypus, whatever you want to do. It's all obviously egocentric, ego-based, and it can be debilitating for the growth of your personality, for the growth of your true identity. And so the problem with answering this question of who am I is that most people would answer that question with their ego. They wouldn't answer it with their soul or other abstract spiritual sort of, concepts that maybe you don't believe in, but I certainly do. In doing that, what they might say is, my identity is the role I play at work. It's these personality traits that maybe are put on in order to appease people in your group, to interest people, to come and hang out with you, to maybe sometimes to piss people off on purpose. These aren't true to your personality. These are things that you are making a very conscious decision to do in order to appear a certain way. In social situations as well, someone's identity might be based on their bank balance, how much they earn. This is usually something that you might put onto, what's the word when you put something onto someone else? I can't remember. Add it in the comments below. This is something that you might put onto someone else and sort of create their identity for them. But that'll actually absolutely be perceived by them as their identity. And maybe they won't outwardly say it, but that is something that then becomes their identity too. In extreme circumstances, one might look to their lineage as their identity, family ties. For example, the royal family. How do all members of the royal family identify themselves? If it's not via their ego, then I have no idea how they think that they have this God-given right to live in a big castle, taking all of our taxes. And for what? What do we get in return? We get some tourism. Shut up. No, we don't. People would still come to this country to see Buckingham Palace if the Queen wasn't in there having a poo, whatever she's doing. It's irrelevant. Tourists don't come to see the Queen. They come to see Buckingham Palace and the history that comes with it. Don't know why I did this when I said history. In some extreme circumstances, people will look to the lineage of their family for their personality. But again, this is all ego-based. This is how other people see you in correlation to society. But yeah, if you're watching Queenie, I think that you should take a leaf out of the Big G's book. You should head over to this YouTube channel. First of all, you should hit subscribe and you should hit that bell notification so you don't miss any updates. But then you should also learn about meditation. You should look to really explore yourself, explore the inner you, and maybe you'll realize that you don't have any God-given rights to rule the country. Sorry. Abolish the monarchy, rant over. One more example that I just want to quickly talk around. So I was listening to a podcast a few weeks back. It was The Diary of a CEO, and it was Molly May, the Molly May edition. I watched this Molly May podcast, and you'll have seen there was massive uproar about what she said pertaining to people having 24 hours in a day, everyone having 24 hours in a day, and you can do whatever you want with those 24 hours. Categorically, what she said is correct. I think obviously the uproar was not around that. The uproar was around the fact that she isn't aware of her privilege. What is she, a 21, 22-year-old woman who is obviously very attractive and has made most of her money off the back of being attractive and going on Love Island, and to come back and just say, all you've got to do is work hard. Obviously that's and I don't agree with that. I think she said it in a very insensitive way. However, what I will say about Molly May is that she's 21 or 22 or something along those lines. She's really young. She's super naive. She hasn't got all the answers, unlike me, of course. Not enough stress is put on that fact. Like, give her a break. Like, obviously, she said something that was insensitive. She made a mistake. And I think in the future, she will look back on what she said and be like, okay, maybe I didn't express myself as well as I would have liked to. Anyway, besides the point, that's not even what I want to talk about with regards to Molly May. I was just giving a quick introduction to Molly May and my feelings towards Molly May. Love you, Molly May. So one thing she said was that once she hit 1 million Instagram followers, apparently the first thing in this instance that popped up into her head is, how do I get to 2 million? How do I get to 2 million followers? I'm not sure if she spoke like a gremlin. So that was the first thing that popped into her head. Now, she said this in a way that she thought was admirable. She was like, I work so hard and all I want to do is get more and more and more. And she said the same thing about money as well. For me, that is such an ego response. Her whole identity, her whole being, who she is, what she's achieved, what she will achieve in the future, pertains to her, how she appears on social media, how she appears to other people, how she is seen in the world. And to me, it just screams, I am unhappy. I just want validation from other people to give me that very brief moment of happiness, but it's not going to last. For example, if everything came crashing down for Molly May tomorrow, would she still be happy? No, she wouldn't. And I know you could say that for a lot of people, but for a lot of people, this is how they run their lives. It's all ego based. It's all based on basically, and as simple as I can put it, the ego is a construct. It's a social construct. Equally, it's an internal or personal construct that pertains to the way that you look at yourself. Obviously, this is futile. Obviously, this isn't everlasting. This is something that changes day to day, and that's why it can be so damaging, so debilitating, and that's why you need to take back control of your ego and take back control of your life. So anyway, let's get a little personal here. What has been in the past my personal relationship with my ego? So I guess since I'm not sure how to refer to my ego. Since the ego took over within me at around the age of 14, 15, 16, I don't know how old I was. I didn't keep a journal. That isn't me taking the piss out of journal keep. Anyway, not talking about journaling. Since it took over, it's basically been a power struggle between the two different branches of the ego. So on the one hand, occasionally my ego will come to me and he would have said, you're beautiful, you're funny, you're intelligent, blah, 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 blah. And it wouldn't just be saying those things. It would be saying those things in comparison to other people. But for the most part, my childhood and my adolescence, and even up until I was 24, 25, earlier last year, my ego would be going the other way and it would be telling me I wasn't good enough. It would be giving me debilitating imposter syndrome. It would be telling me that I looked like that my hair was all falling out, which it was, that I wasn't funny. In the back end of last year, December time, I broke down twice, 3 times, 4 times, and just had no idea who I was. I had no lust for life. In my head, I had nothing. And it was all because my ego told me that I was nothing. Of course, both of these different branches of the ego are very different in the way they affect your mental health. One of them makes you feel good in a sense. It makes you feel superior, powerful, and the other one makes you feel like but equally they both hold you back. They both stop you from becoming your true self, from realizing that the power within, from accessing that true authenticity that we all crave. Both of these branches came from a deep sense of insecurity within me. They came from childhood memories replaying. I can't even remember these childhood memories. I just know that that's obviously the way the brain works. You fixate on something that happened in your childhood and you paint a story, and this story lives with you forever unless you do the inner work, do the healing. So yeah, do the inner work, guys. You need it. Now, I don't want you to get what I'm saying wrong. I've had a happy and privileged childhood with great friends, great family. However, I do feel as though I've spent more of my adolescence to adulthood more unhappy than I could have been. And that's because I haven't been living true to myself. I guess I just feel as though that happiness that I have had has been not fake, but almost based on a fake sense of self. They weren't like a true, deep, integral, fundamental happiness, who I was, who I am, what my identity is. Just being happy to be alive, to be in this world, because it's a wonder, this world. I'm just looking out the window now and I can see there's a tree, which is amazing, because that tree is breathing the air that you are breathing out, and vice versa.
You love it when I get so high and drop that thing so low, make you sit right here.
Now, I don't regret anything that happened in those formative years of my life. Obviously, they made me the person that I am today. And sure, I'd agree with you. Maybe I am a bit of a twat, but I love being a twat. And now I just feel as though I have a much more secure sense of self. And that absolutely correlates to happiness, to peace of mind, to being you, to being you. Why wouldn't you want to be you? You are you. You is the best. So these are the big questions. How and why does meditation help you to silence the ego? And I'm going to get pretty scientific here. Science is boring. I'll go into the science in a later video when I am not as riled up. So once you start practicing And initially, this is just going to be when you are actually literally practicing. But as time goes on, it's going to be more of a common occurrence for this to happen in your everyday life. That little voice in your head that says you're the best, or you're the worst, or you're a... that little voice is going to quieten. I can't promise that that little voice will go away, and you wouldn't want it to, because occasionally ego can be very useful. And I'll go into this in another video. You wouldn't want to silence it completely, but it's all about just quietening that ego so that it's not a domineering force inside your brain. What we are looking for here is a calm peace of mind in the moment. You want to be in the moment at all times. You're not comparing yourselves to other people on Instagram, TikTok, whatever it may be. Oh, he's got a nice watch. Oh, he's got a big penis. I wish I had his penis. None of that. It's about balancing the ego within the confines of your mind. It's about subjugating the ego to a lower rung within the hierarchy of your cognition, of your mind. And so with meditation, what you're going to do is you're obviously going to slow down the brain. You're going to slow down your thoughts. You're going to go to a place that is completely focused on the here and the now, whether you're listening to your breath, whether you're feeling your shoulders move up and down with your heartbeat. And by doing this, you're going to change the structure of your brain so that you have more blah, 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 waves. I can't remember what they're called. Sue me. And ultimately from this, your ego is going to be prominent. It's going to actually help you to discover your true self. Your true self still has to be proud of who you are, still has to be a little bit cocky, but more just sort of confident in who you are. The ego has a part to play. Don't write the ego off, guys. So how has meditation impacted my relationship with my ego? Avid viewers of the Big G will know this. Your childhood years are by far and away your most formative. However, for me, I think the word formative, why do I keep doing this? Formative is a word. The word formative has certain positive connotation. You can have a negative formation. You can have negative, formative, impactful periods in your life, but it's usually used in a positive way. Now, over the last 6 to 7 months, when I've been practicing meditation daily, I've also been doing obviously other positive things to help improve my life, exercising, eating well, blah, 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 blah. I see these last 6 to 7 months as by far and away the most formative, the time in my life that has impacted me as a person, has impacted the way that I interact with others, impacted the way I see myself, impacted the way I speak to myself. Occasionally these things creep in, but I'm definitely more adept at silencing him at this point. And that's all come from meditation. That's all come from quietening the mind. It's all come from changing the structure of my brain and just bouncing back from anything that comes my way, because life is hard and things will come your way. Meditation and also a lot of self-help content on YouTube has helped me to take a step forward, and I feel like I'm slowly becoming the best version of myself. And that's absolutely what I want for you guys as well. I want you to see meditation as a tool to become happier, but I also want you to see meditation as a tool to silence the ego, become your most authentic self. And from becoming your most authentic self, you're going to become your best self. You're going to become a self that you are proud of, a self that is successful and happy, whatever success means to you. So yeah, that is my experience of meditation, how it's helped me to control my ego, how it's helped me to get out of this little pit that I'm in. That's also what I think of the ego. My personal definition, take it or leave it. Make your own definition. If you have a cool definition for your ego, please pop it in the comment section below. I'd love to hear what you guys think. Please do drop a comment, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification as well. There's going to be lots more content coming soon. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, guys. I really, really hope you enjoyed. I had a lot of fun making this one. If you couldn't tell, this is something I do feel really passionately about. Thank you very much, guys. Namaste.